Good morning, the beautiful people of Fireside. So glad you guys could be on here this morning. 10 o'clock where I am. I don't know what time it is where you are, but the fact that you're on here is it's good stuff. Thanks for joining us today. We're talking about the unstoppable mindset. What's up, Sidro, Ryan, man? Good to see you guys, man. Good to see you guys on there. Seth is in the house. Let Seth up here with me. You guys are, there we go. Seth, are you on? There you go. Let me get Seth up on stage. He and I love talking.
Good morning.
There
Good
he is,
morning.
my man. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Just welcoming everybody here. We talk about the unstoppable mindset. A couple of the fellas that showed up early.
Good way to
Ryan.
start today.
It's always good when your own son shows up. That's my son. Ryan's my son. Um,
You're cloning.
yeah, that's what they say. He's better looking than I am, though. He's Tina, what's happening? Good to see you, Tina. Good morning. Good morning. We're talking about the unstoppable mindset. Our friend is here. Sidro's here. Good to see you. You know, one of the things I want to talk about today, um, as far as this unstoppable mindset, I want to jump right into it. Invite you guys to the stage. We'll chat it up a little bit. I want to talk about this concept. What a lot of people don't do. It's a new term for it, but I want to talk about moving forward requires accepting where you are. All right, that's first. There's something out there called, and I wrote it down. Scientists call it motivational reasoning, and a lot of times we fall guilty to that. And what motivational reasoning is, it's a propensity not to see things as clearly, but instead to reason our way into seeing things as we would like them to be. You know, we see things as we would like them to be rather than how they really are. Now, it's cool to maybe have a vision of how you'd like to see things, but you really have to move forward in this thing called personal growth. And that's what I'm really after today. I'm really after this, what this unstoppable mindset is about personal growth. And I'm telling you, personal growth is arguably the most important thing a person can do in their life. It's the best thing they can do for life and others around them. We need to grow. But it's accepting where you are first. Um, Moving forward requires accepting where we are. We have to kind of get rid of this notion of motivated reasoning. What do you guys think about that? Where we have a propensity to see things not as they are, but as we wish them to be.
I think I was wondering, what impact does social media, what impact does the internet have on that?
Yeah.
I think it ends up being huge because, the kind of comparison game, we end up looking at what everybody else has, and then we can trick ourselves into thinking, maybe we're in a different place than we are. So I think that probably plays a big role. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear from anybody down the audience, Loreno, Isidro, Ryan, Tina, if you have any thoughts with this, would love to hear from you as well.
Isidro, come on up, man.
Good morning. Thanks,
Good
Seth.
morning.
Good morning.
Thanks, Ralph. Good to see you guys. When I heard you say you used the word accepting, like in the front of that, am I correct? Right?
Yeah, accepting where you are. Moving forward requires accepting where you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that acceptance, we it's a normal word, right? Yeah, that
Yeah.
we just hear so often, but when you apply it to personal growth, in my experience, I once had to challenge myself to define what is acceptance, as simple as it is, right? So one of these little exercises that I do uh, is I have this 100 words per day, and what I do is I take a word from the dictionary, and I just random dictionary. I have my blue dictionary in my office, and the first word that I see that I'm attracted to, I write the definition of that. And then I proceed to write what's on my mind for the next 100 words.
Wow.
And sometimes I get 107, sometimes I get 95, sometimes I get 120. But I write the definition and then what I think of it. And I once did that to the word acceptance. And as it came to personal growth and development, the definition stuck to my head. And that definition for me is allowing things to be the way they are without wanting about it, no matter how unpleasant the feeling may be, right? Allowing things to be the way they are. In other words, when that's true acceptance. So
Yeah.
so your girlfriend leaves you, right? She leaves you for another guy, and you're trying hard to change so that she could come back to you. Well, guess what? She's left you. Accept that. Move on, right?
Yeah.
And when I think about those are moments of maturity, right? Personal development is maturity. If you ever try to take an avocado that's not mature, it's not going to taste good. So maturity and personal development go hand in hand. So I love that the word of acceptance as it comes to personal growth, because it allows you to move on to other things, to accept things the way they are without wanting to do a thing, no matter how unpleasant the feeling is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's helped me out tremendously. I don't know if it makes sense to this talk, but it helped. It buzzed on me when you said it.
Well, it does make complete sense. It makes complete sense, man. Um, we could spend going back to your analogy of the broken relationship. We could spend so much time trying to get that back, trying to become another person, trying not to accept it. Depression. And when anything happens to us, whether especially adverse situations, we talked about resiliency. If we sit in it too long and don't accept it for what it is, now here comes the depression. Now here comes the dark days. Now here comes all these things that keep us from moving forward and accepting, man, it's just part this pain I'm feeling, I gotta accept it as part of my growth. I gotta keep pushing forward. That analogy made a lot of sense. We have to, I like that definition. It's not going to change. It's not going to change.
I think
Seth? Yeah.
I'm thinking about, in the professional, and Tina's probably thinking about this too, because I know, Tina's, she's a licensed, oh, here she comes. But I know, she's a licensed psychologist, but I
Hey,
know that
Tina. Good
the
morning.
importance in, counseling or psychology scenes of, you can't really move forward from where you are unless you know where you're at. And I know the times in my life when I've seen a therapist or gotten some professional help through some issues. This has been one of the first things you have to face where you're actually at before we can move forward. So, Tina, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, hi Ralph. Hi Seth.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. So, what I was thinking about is in terms of mindfulness and non-emotional reactivity. So, depression is thinking about the past, anxiety is worrying about the future. So, if you're in the moment, you can't be anxious or depressed. If you're like, okay, I'm reading a book,
Wow.
I'm walking down the hall. So, the thing is, compared to like a roadmap where it's like you have a destination, but you don't know where you're starting, that doesn't make sense. So, that's what I wanted to say.
Let's go back to what you just said. You just blew my mind with that, Tina. I love it. If you're in the moment, if you're in this moment, you cannot be anxious or depressed.
Right.
I love that. I mean, and so many times we avoid being in that particular moment.
So, yeah, so to start off, all you have to do is being mindful is being intentional about it, being in the present and not judging yourself for it. So you don't have to do it all the time, but you can say, Thich Nhat Hanh has this method of washing the dishes mindfully. So you can be like, I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to be mindful about that. And I'm going to do that right now. I'm not going to think about anything else. When I get distracted, I'm going to bring myself back to the dishes.
Wow. Wow. I like that. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Guys, we're talking about personal growth. Thank you, Tina. You always have something, both of you, you and Isidro, always have something positive to contribute. I love showing up here every week. I learn so much more than even what we're talking about. But in this thing of personal growth and this growing forward, guys, learn to accept, okay, this happened. I've had adverse things happen to me. You know, I'm a little listen. This Seth talked about seeing a therapist and stuff like that. That's fairly new for us. And I say us, I'm a little older. I'm 53 years old. My culture ain't go see a therapist. Unless, you know what, you did see a therapist. Black people do see therapists. They didn't. Our therapist was grandma, grandpa, an older elder. That was a therapist that you saw, And so wherever you have to see, accept that to move forward, this is part of my journey. This is definitely a part of my journey, and I'm learning. I'm growing with talks like this. I'm glad my son is on here with talks like this. I thank God for the therapist of today. Like I said, they weren't available. When not in the hood where I was growing up in. They weren't. Utilize them. Listen, I don't know how. Before we get off the line, we're going to find out how to. We get Tina every week, so you need something to ask. You better ask Tina while she's on here, and help us process through some of this stuff. But what we're talking about, this growth mindset. Personal growth is arguably the most important thing that you're going to do for yourself and all of those around you. And it starts by accepting where you are. So it happened to you. Listen, I've had cars repoed. It happened. I couldn't make the payment. I'm not mad at the repo guy. He's doing his job so he can make his payment. I got accepted. Growing up, young father, my son who's on here now wasn't aware of the struggles me and his mother had financially, but you accept where you are. But in order to grow, in order to move forward, okay, I can't change it, but I can change how I go about it. I have to avoid this motivational reasoning. Let's talk about that one more time. Motivational reasoning is our propensity not to see things clearly, but instead to reason our way into seeing things as we like them to be. A lot of us, not on here, but maybe other places, a lot of us handle our finances that way. We spend money on things that we believe we can afford, and in reality, we have to accept we can't afford that now. So we watch people get into debt, get into credit card debt, get whatever the case may be. That motivated reasoning, be careful of that, guys. Be careful of that. Accept where you are and to move forward so you can get where you want to be, Progress in anything. Oh, let me invite Ryan to the stage. Hold on. My son's here. Hold on. What's up, son?
Hey, can everybody?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think that's hilarious. I just had to come to the realization. Last week I had to cancel so many subscriptions. I had HBO, Apple Music. I don't need any of those things because it was putting me into a hole. So I came to the realization I got to get rid of them. So I canceled every single one of my subscriptions.
Yeah.
And another point that I wanted to make was you always told me, Dad, sometimes you have to sit back and punt and reevaluate things.
Yeah.
And I say punt if nobody understands what I mean. I used to play football, and when you get in a jam, you sit back, you punt, and you get different field position, and then you move forward from there. So accept where you are, got to punt the ball, and now let's move forward from there, and let's get a touchdown.
Thank you for adding that, son. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for jumping up on stage. Seth?
I think it's good. I'm starting to think about the flip side of this. And like when we're talking about, you titled this The Unstoppable Mindset. And, I think that there's a huge piece of mindset that is looking forward to where you're going.
Yeah.
And, being kind of transparent with where, some of how I'm seeing this right now, I have my goals for where we want our business to go this year. It's not.
Uh-oh. We got some. We'll come back to Seth in a minute. Seth, we got a lot of interference on your behalf. thing about technology, there will be difficulties. There will be difficulties in technology. Seth, we got a lot of interference. I don't know what's happening, but we definitely want you to come back with your point. Definitely want to come back with your point. Anybody else want to come to the stage and talk about this progress? Talk about moving forward. Talking about accepting where you are. Have you been the victim of motivational reasoning? Here we go. What's up, brother? You back? No, he's still messed up. I wonder what's going on. Welcome, Kathleen. Welcome, Marwan. Always good to see you here. We're talking about the unstoppable mindset. We're talking about personal growth is arguably the greatest thing you could do for yourself, but it starts with accepting where you are, what is happening in your life. You can only move forward. You can only progress as you accept where you are. Progress, guys, in anything large or small requires recognizing, accepting, and starting where you are, not where you want to be, not where you think you should be, not where others think you should be, but where you are. That is the first principle. That's one of the first principles of personal growth. It's starting exactly where you are, not where you think you should be, not where you want to be, but this is where I am. There you go, Seth.
Sorry. I think what happened is my wife was going out to leave for work, and my phone automatically connected to our car's system, and so then all of a sudden I couldn't hear a thing.
Okay.
But I'm back. So,
but you were saying.
Yeah, I think that the flip side of all of this is trying to be aware of where we want to go and trying to make decisions out of that place. And so knowing, okay, this is where you want to be in 6 months. And so from a mindset and from a perspective position, making decisions, not necessarily from, it's a weird balance. I feel like in some areas of our life, we need to be making decisions with acceptance of where we're at right now. In other areas, we need to be kind of looking forward and letting the mindset and letting the perspective pull us forward into that position. So I'm curious to what your thoughts are on kind of the balance of that topic.
You know what? It is a weird place to be. And if we're not careful, that will cause some discouragement because, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong or support me if I'm right. When we operate from where we want to be, we really don't take time to count the cost or count some of the things that happen along the way. Okay, I want to lose 40 pounds by July. And July comes and I've only lost 32. Now I'm super discouraged because, like Tina said, I wasn't in the particular moment or whatever the case may be. I was operating from a different place. Now that's a great motivation, but we have to count what could happen along the way. I don't know. I know there's a delicate balance. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you have to be so aware that there is a balance. July might come and you may have not lost all of the weight, but you have to be confident enough to say, I'm down from where I was in January when I made that proclamation, and I'm just going to keep this particular formula until I get to the goal. I think when we put time and stuff on it, man, it messes us up and it discourages us in business, in relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it can discourage us if we're not balanced. Does that make sense, what I just said? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know. I know actually one of the times that I, went and saw a therapist a couple of years ago, going in, I didn't necessarily think that I was massively struggling with, a comparison game. But, in my space, there's so many entrepreneurs, there's so many, people that are doing online business and marketing that, there's so many people that are posting, their photos with Lamborghinis, even though they're rented, they're posting their photos with all of this stuff. They're talking about how much money they're making, all of this stuff. And I don't necessarily, I'm not listening to that and thinking like, oh my gosh, I got to be there. Oh my gosh, like, why not me? But we talked about how when when you see those stories all around you, there's going to be this subconscious like, oh, I'm not there and that's bad, as opposed to accepting where you're at and moving forward. And so I can tell you right now, I know how many clients we're going to have heading into next year, and I'm restructuring my role as a CEO right now based off of, what will it take to lead a company that has the amount of clients that we'll have in December. So, I'm going to be leading our company now based off of the place that we'll be. But you better believe that when I'm looking at our finances and when I'm making hiring decisions, I'm making those hiring decisions based off of the books today. And so it's this weird balance where, you can't, just because we're going to be there in a year doesn't mean that, we can go and double our team and hire the team for 12 months from now. So I think there's some areas where vision wise, where perspective wise, where goals wise, where even I think how we're living, what things we're doing on a daily basis to pull us forward. We need kind of where we're going to pull us forward into that. But we have to balance that with a taste of reality of where we're currently at. Yeah, Kathleen just mentioned, so many people miss the joy of small celebrations of life along the way. I think that's so true of like, you can get, and again, everything is in balance. We can get so focused on, oh my gosh, I'm not there yet. That we miss, the joys and the celebrations that we're, going towards now. And, Tina mentioned in the comments as well, and thinking about immediate future in relation to long-term goals, asking herself the question, what's next? And I think that's an important question to be asking. So it's like anything where there's balance, and it's a bit of a tension, a bit of a struggle to figure out that balance of the importance of, we got to be thinking forward, but also we can't move forward without recognizing where we're at.
It's this constant pursuit of, and thank you for that. You said so many things that are really pertinent that I want to talk about, but time won't allow us to talk about it. In this constant pursuit of more, or the constant pursuit of getting to reaching my goals, right? How do we, because from goal to goal, we reach a goal, or whenever we reach whatever case may be, we from goal to goal, from place to place, we can get discouraged along the way. Like you said, man, like the comparison gap, or I've reached this goal, now what? Like, I don't know, guys, if I want to stand in that constant place of tension my entire life, even though this culture and this society says, kind of applauds that. Grind, hustle, grind, hustle. I think there has to be some groundedness. I think there has to be some something along the way of, this, we live in this pressure cooker. All right, you got the degree. Now what? Okay, you started the business. Now what? Okay, now Seth, you hired, or you're at the place next year where you now what? Is there more tension? What's the end game, guys?
Mm-hmm.
We wonder why our cortisol levels are going crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's why so many people are quitting their jobs this year. I think that's part of why, there's all this stuff with the Great Resignation, is because people are just realizing, they've been on the hamster wheel. And I've had so many conversations with people that have, in the last 2 weeks, where people are they've either changed careers or changed jobs, or they're realizing they want to. And it's because they're in the position where they're not super happy with the work, and their supervisors know that. And so they're getting a raise, or they're getting, an extra title added on. And so it's this, the corporate, kind of this corporate wheel that's built a lot of the industry around us, but that now people are in the position where they're realizing like, oh man, like they're gonna, even if I'm unhappy, they're just gonna keep, slowly paying me more, maybe giving me more responsibility every couple of years, kind of so that I just put up with the crap. And I think people are finally realizing, wait a second, what if I actually pursued something that I like? And, similar, Kathleen just commented in the comments, connection to life purpose, not the societal structure, your societal construct of life goals. So I think people are beginning to wonder, what if the work that I do each day, what if the way that I live my life each day was actually connected to my life purpose?
Wow. Yeah. 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 Because if it's not, it's a slow, as short as life is, it's a slow, painful death to live it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you wake up after a decade or a few decades of work and realize, where did it go? I've just been working for someone else. And not that the solution is not always to work for yourself and do your own thing, but I think accepting, and again, this is part of coming back to what we're talking about, accepting what you want, accepting where you're at, and making decisions on where you're going based off of those answers.
Yeah, yeah. Good
Ralph,
stuff
we're gonna
today, guys.
What's that?
I said good stuff today. Good stuff. High energy.
Good way to start the morning.
Yeah.
You're going to be talking about that. We're doing something next week. You're going to be talking about this more.
All week long next week, guys. If you go to my webpage, ralphgracejr.com, and hit /challenge, we're doing the 5-day Unstoppable Mindset Challenge, the Unstoppable Challenge. 5-day Unstoppable Challenge is completely free. And we're talking about things like this all week long. We want to show up on in that particular, I think it sends you to a Facebook group. Am I right?
Yeah. So you head to ralphgravesjr.com/challenge, enter in your email, and then we'll send you to a private Facebook group. But it's going to be a 5-day challenge. We're going to provide training, resources. Each day is going to be a different topic around becoming unstoppable. And then there's also going to be a community element. So you're going to get to learn from other people and really just get a lot of the resources that you're delivering to coaching clients. But we're going to deliver that in the context of kind of a free 5-day challenge.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a lot of content, guys. I'm going to give you all of me. This is not just some fly by night. We're going to spend some time together. I think we won't be on any longer than an hour, between 45, 50 minutes, and then some time for questioning, and then some time to go apply and practice, and then we'll come back the next day. But it is 5-day free, intense challenge. And so we're gonna dive into some things. We're gonna dive into some things. You're gonna meet some people. We're gonna develop this mastermind and this cohort, and hopefully you guys want to go further. ralphgracejr.com/challenge. Sign up, and we're going to go live. We're going to go live, and we're going to spend some time in these topics that we're talking about. We're going to go deeper in them. We'd love to have you guys on. I would love to have you guys. I love the Fireside community, and all the shows I listen to, and especially my own. I get a lot of growth. And then we're going to be doing that, utilizing all of that in that 5-day Unstoppable Challenge.
Yeah. And if you all haven't, go check out Unstoppable with Ralph Graves Jr. On the podcast platforms you listen to. So we have some really exciting interviews coming down the pipeline. We're starting to bring in more of an international guest audience to the podcast. We're going to be bringing some incredible international stories to you. And so if you haven't checked that out, go check out some of the recent episodes to Unstoppable with Ralph Graves Jr. Sometimes, I think this week we published one of our fireside chats from a week or two ago. But we have a lot of great interviews on there. So just type in Unstoppable with Ralph Graves Jr. on any podcasting platform.
And before I jump off today, guys, let me leave you with this bit of encouragement. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. Stay in there. You know what you're doing is on path and lines up to where you're going. Stay in there. Don't worry about the applause. Don't worry about the crowds. You never know who's looking. You never know who's watching. Stay consistent. Show up every week. Show up every day. And I'm telling you, it's going to pay off. So I maybe one day we'll do a whole show on consistency and why you are there. So, all right, everybody. Hey, great talking to you guys. We'll see you again. Go to ralphgravesjr.com/challenge.